I have a package here today that came from one of the members of our Tronics Fix and Restore Discord. He said he thinks the bugs inside of it are dead. So, let's find out. Shoutouts to Grouchy Platypus for sending this to us. That's a member of our Tronics Fix and Restore Discord. And yeah, he was willing to do a swap with us so that we could get this one that he says had a bug infestation inside of it. So because of that, and because we might have live bugs inside of here, I'm going to do all of this work inside of a container here, just in case something comes crawling out at any point. So I can see some evidence of the bugs inside of this wrap. He did a really good job here of packaging this up to make sure that we weren't going to be having to deal with bugs, at least in the box, or having cockroaches get out during transit. So here's the moment of truth. Let's get inside. There it is. Now you can't really see much, but let me tell you, you can smell that this definitely has bugs in it. Cockroaches leave a very distinct, very gross smell when they colonize one of these things. And yeah, so we can see some of the stuff now. Let's just get this packaging out of the way, and we're gonna start the process of taking this apart and finding out what we have on the inside. Let's just make sure that gets out of here good. And we have our first evidence of a live cockroach here on this project. I'll be honest, my skin is crawling. I'm probably not gonna have a good time sleeping tonight. I'm going to take a container here, and what we're going to use on these guys is this bottle full of 99% solution of isopropyl alcohol. Every time I see one, I'm going to give it a good spray, and that will kill it. Not instantaneously, but within half a minute or so, it'll be gone. Let's just warm these stickers up to take them off. Transfer our little heat bag over here, and then we can carefully get underneath this sticker as well with our tweezers. Definitely don't want to damage it because I want to reuse this sticker. So we're just going to get a section that we can get underneath and pull up here. I'm expecting that we might attract more of the cockroaches here to the surface by putting that heat on the system. Let's find out. Okay, we have one hanging out here while we're getting ready to take and open this thing up. They're starting to come out. This is actually the second one we're dealing with now. And a little bit of IPA on him, and he's toast. And, oh, gross. This is a bigger one. Number 3. Gotcha. And number 4. Just gonna get you off of here and then spray you down here. I'll start collecting them in this container, and I have a lid to put on here to make sure that if they happen to not be dead, they ain't getting out of here. Okay, let's finally open this thing up. Just gotta pry from the top here, and then it'll all come up, and... ugh. That is gross. I don't need to tell you, you can see it. But man, fortunately most of them are dead. At least everyone, all of them that we can see here are dead. Let's just get them out of the way. I could use a vacuum to suck these up, but then I would be just moving a lot of air, and I want to minimize the amount of air I move around here. There's a 5th one. I'm just going to spray. I'm too grossed out. We're just going to throw some IPA in here, and hopefully that'll encourage other ones to die. There we go. That's visually what we had in our way right now, at least. We'll get the underside of this part here. And I'm going to get another container to start putting parts in to set aside, because if there happens to be anything that hatches or that I missed that's alive, I still don't want it running around my shop. We're being as careful as we can here. This isn't my home. For the last time I did one of these videos for the PS5, I think there was a number of people in the comments who were like, ain't no way I would be bringing that into my house. And you know what? I agree. I would not be doing this in my house. Fortunately, at Tronics Fix here, we have a separate office that is neither of our homes, and we're okay doing this kind of work here. Even at that, we don't want these running around our shop either, so we're being very cautious and making sure to kill everything. For a number of years, when Steve was running his repair business, before the Tronics Fix YouTube channel took off, he would clean these and charge a good deal more money for anybody who had a bug infestation in their consoles, because it's just so gross. And he was telling me it even got to a point where no matter how much money he was making, he just refused to do them. And I can understand that. It smells terrible, it's gross, it makes your skin crawl. I will tell you that I had trouble sleeping the first night of working on this project. Had dreams the entire night that I was opening doors or containers or jars or anything and bugs were crawling out. It's gross stuff. Okay, let's just continue to take everything apart here. And getting all the visible dead and alive cockroaches gone and setting all this stuff aside. You know, this is not the first console that I've cleaned out with bugs in it. It is the first one I've had live bugs in. Steve has told me he did a number of them when he was doing his repair business. Some of them were like the entire thing. Every bug in it was alive. I can't even imagine. If you have cleaned a grosser console yourself, let me know in the comments. I know you people are out there. I'm going to just get this clip out of the way because just want to be confident nothing's hiding behind it. Okay, we're going to take the time to open this disk drive up and make sure nothing is inside of here. It actually looks really clean. Not an area that the bugs were getting into, but we're still going to remove enough of this to make sure something isn't hiding. It's just too gross not to. Don't want to trust it. So let's get this board out of the way here, and then we'll take the laser disc, part of the disc out, and then, yeah. At least to be able to get as much of this as part as possible to feel confident that there's nothing hiding somewhere. Okay, we got that part of this, and also looks really good. That's good news. I'm going to take this rail system, these gears off of here. Remember to put these rubber bands back appropriately where they go. Not rubber bands. What are they called? Belts? That's the word. Just got to unclip this here, and we should be able to pull the bottom part of this tray off. You guys hear my rooster? It's not mine. It's the neighbor's. I like him. All right. Again, we'll keep these bands set aside and remember to put them back. And we should be able to push this disc through now and find out what we had inside of here. And it is a Harry Potter DVD. Okay, back to the main system. Oh, we have a tab that just broke off while trying to pull this ribbon cable out of here. So let's just trip the gate and get that out of here. That tab was not on there securely. I didn't abuse it. Trust me. Okay, that's stuck on there with an adhesive that is meant to be there. It's not cockroach adhesive. We're going to replace this Kapton tape, so let's just get rid of that. Okay. We have a few screws here holding this main guts of the system inside of here, and we can just slide it over and lift up, and there we go. So So we've got a couple main parts of this project now. We're gonna set this aside and get rid of some bugs, and then I think we'll come back and clean that housing before we move on to the main part of the system here. Just got to do some housekeeping first. Okay. Last time I did one of these Xbox Series X's, I failed to realize I could take that screw out and remove this entire unit without having to unscrew the board from it first. And so we have that, and a little bit of bug cleanup. Don't want to lose that part. One more little board here, and then we can get this out of here. And I think that's everything we're going to take out of there. Let's set that aside for cleaning later and move on to the block. First things first, let's get this board off of this little housing unit here. And go ahead and get the bodies out. Come on. Okay, we can take off our seat belt. I mentioned this last time that I cleaned one of these Series X's on film, that it's kind of an enjoyable process. There's a lot of steps to it, but I like it. One of the things I like about it is that almost all the screws in here are the same bit, and so we don't have to change that out a bunch of times. It's just this Torx 8. The only exception to that, I believe, is in the DV or the disc system, where there's some Phillips heads. Got a couple of longer ones here I want to note. That one was really stuck. Okay, now we can get this shield thing out of the way. And kind of gross, but we'll set it aside. Here's some more bugs. It's always scary opening things like that. What's going to be inside? Longer screw here and here and here. Then we can unplug and remove the power supply and set that aside. I'm actually going to take off this housing from the power supply. And I could take this apart further, but I'm actually leaning towards just replacing the power supply. They are disassemblable. You can get inside of here and actually get to everything. But there are a couple of reasons that I'm not going to do that. Number one, and the biggest one, is because of the safety issue, because I don't want to put myself at risk. I'm not confident enough in my own dealing with the power supply to know that I'm not going to accidentally electrocute myself. But I also don't want to model that for anybody else, because I think there are a lot of people who watch YouTube videos and then assume because they watched a YouTube video that they can do it. And because I'm one of those people who does that sometimes. So anyway, I just want to be careful and want to encourage everyone else to be extra careful with stuff like that. But also, even if I did clean it as well as I could, this is one of two places in here that I believe are going to get warm enough and hot enough that no matter how much I clean, I'm just afraid that the bug smell from all of the cockroach grossness inside of there would never quite go away and would flare up every time you turn the system on and run it and it's hot. So I'm just going to take another power supply out of a donor system to put inside of here. A little bit more cleaning here. Pre-cleaning. Getting the actual bugs off of here before we do the in-depth cleaning. Just gotta clean out my containers a little bit now. This isn't too bad here. I was expecting these motherboard systems here to be quite a bit grosser, And there are some bugs in here, but they're not quite as caked with cockroach feces. That sounds really gross to say, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. That's what makes them smell so bad, and it's what is the gross brown goo that you see all over in here. And I was expecting to find more of it on the boards themselves, which is a pain to clean, so I'm really glad that it's not that way. Okay, this is the other part that I think I'm going to just replace, because you look down inside of here, like, number one, how do you get and clean inside of there so perfectly? And then every time this gets hot, you're going to smell that. We have enough Xbox Series X's here around the office that I'm just going to take one from a donor system. All right, let's get to the deep clean. I'm going to take everything that's plastic here that doesn't have circuitry on it. Minimal amounts of metal. There is one piece that I'm going to put in here that has a little bit of metal on it, but I'm just going to clean it and dry it. Dry it really well and make sure that it gets dry. This right here. So we've got a couple of parts on here. A little foam piece on the metal there, but I'm still going to soak this and clean it, and then I'll just take it out and use my air dryer on it instead of letting it naturally dry. So all this stuff is going to go in here. Going to get it all agitated a little bit here, and then I'm going to set this whole warm water Dawn dish detergent solution aside, and we're going to get to cleaning the other stuff while it soaks. So I'm using, as I said before here for the bugs, IPA, isopropyl alcohol, as people like to point out in my comments sometimes. It's just a label. I couldn't do anything about it. The label comes like that as the option from the factory, so that sells these little bottles. So we're using that 99% solution, cleaning out in here, and I'm trying something new at the recommendation of a commenter, which is to try these Clorox wipes. And Clorox, not necessarily the brand, just a disinfectant wipe. We have no affiliation with Clorox. And I'm actually pretty happy with how that's doing. Now on video that you can still see some spots there, but that's just what's happened to the metal from having that grossness sit on there. By wiping these off really well and then giving it a good kind of dry off with a microfiber cloth. That's just kind of what's left, but it's good. I feel good about it. I could sandpaper scrub them, but then they would look all scuffed up. I've done that on a number of projects in the past, and I'm just actually happy leaving it just like this. So using these wipes, some cotton swabs occasionally. And I'm pretty happy with how the clean is going. Takes a little bit of elbow grease. I'm having to kind of really scrub and rub in some of these parts, but it is getting clean. And not only is it getting clean, it's getting disinfected. That's like the extra bonus. And that is the main reason why I am using IPA and disinfectant wipes on this project as my cleaning method. There are probably some other things I could use that might help lift up the grossness, but I'm also wanting to make sure to get rid of, just to kill anything on here and get rid of the smell, and it's doing a great job. So any of these boards, I'm being careful not to scrub too hard with it. I don't want to accidentally grab something vital and rip it off of here. But it is doing a good job of helping give me just that minor amount of abrasiveness and cleaning power and just get this stuff removed. Just some really hard to reach angles and stuff in here. I'm gonna pull the toothbrush out and use the IPA and get in there. This one in particular, I don't know why, but I'm really getting the smell off of this one. It's nauseating. Uses some BW100 down inside of here, and I'm just using that to help spray, kind of rinse clean some of these areas that it's hard to get inside of. There's a few places on this board that need a little bit of scrubbing and cleaning that you can see these droppings on. One of the places that there's some stuff is inside of this putty, and I will work on getting that. Unfortunately, I accidentally had my film not running while I was getting that. So I'll show you what it looks like clean, but you won't see me picking all these little pieces of bug grossness out of this this putty here. Gonna rinse these out, and these bristles are long enough to get inside of here and help me kind of clean in there, and rinse and scrub and rinse and scrub and keep doing it. And eventually, when I look in there with the right lighting, I can tell that I got everything. There was some grossness caked up inside of here. And here's what it looks like done, including that nice blue putty. Let's just remove this old thermal paste from on top of here. It's really hard to get all of that old thermal paste out from outside of this chip here surrounding it, but I at least want to get it off of the chip. Here is my absolute favorite example of these cleaning wipes and how good of a job they do. These fans are a nightmare, and I have cleaned entire fans like this using cotton swabs, and it takes so much time and it's so much waste. Just one of these things, look at that. So good. And there's what it's like all done. So satisfying. It's like new. All right, we can finally get to our bath and clean up this stuff now. I'm just using a paintbrush here, and it's been soaking for a good amount of time. That was about an hour and a half's worth of cleaning that I did in between here, and honestly, it looks really good. Like I'm hardly having to do anything, and all that grossness that was inside of there is just coming right off. So that's encouraging. Still, I'm going to go over all of the surface here. Eventually, when I'm done scrubbing all of this, I will rinse all of these parts off, probably go over them again off camera, rinse them off again, and then dry them. Anything with metal or foam or anything like that on it, I blast with my little electronic air duster. And then I, just to make sure that it doesn't have water that sits on there and rusts something. And then if there's yet anything to do after that, I might spot clean it with a little bit of IPA. But for the most part, this looks like it's doing a good job. And do we have anything else hiding in here? I think we got it all. Gross. That is gross. Okay, here are the parts we're going to replace. This guy right here, because our original one down here on the bottom, there's a clip that broke off of it. I don't think I caused that, but I have another one, so I'm going to put it on there. Then we have our power supply. Here's one that we just pulled out of a non-working system. And I'm going to put that in instead. And then our heatsink. No bugs hiding down inside of here. No grossness that's going to smell every time it heats up. So those are the three things we're going to replace from a donor system. Let's just get the thermal paste off of this donor heatsink. And then we can get to the reassembly. One thing I want to mention is that all of the screws that I'm putting back in here, I am cleaning because a lot of them also had bug goo on them. Alright, we are done with the cleaning part of this project. I'm happy with how it turned out. I still don't know if it works, and today I'm not going to find out. I have a few more things coming in the mail that I'm planning on cleaning, and then hoping to put together a small collection of things that I can give to Steve to make a video on at the Tronics Fix channel. And we are going to include this freshly exterminated Xbox Series X with that group. If you enjoyed this video today, you most likely will also enjoy the video where I gave a similar treatment to a PlayStation 5 that had another cockroach infestation in it. I'll put the link right down here in the corner for you if you want to check it out. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.